This to be an absolute belting race one. As I said, it's Josh Brooks from pole position, from Danny Buchan and Tommy Bridewell on the front row. Let's get across to our commentators for this one. It's James Whittam alongside Jack Bernacle.
The MC Insurance British Superbike Championship, round 9 in association with Pirelli, and Danny Buchan eager to get moving on the warm-up lap, having qualified in second place, his best qualifying position of his career so far, his very brief career in BSB, having of course set an astounding lap record last year here while winning the Super Stock race. And behind him on the grid you will find, well, ahead of him on the grid, we've got Josh Brooks with the Milwaukee Yamaha. He has been dominant all the way through the weekend, and in fact was fastest in warm-up this morning. One intriguing factor is that although he's only qualified 20th, Yuichi Kianari found something this morning, was 4th quickest in warm-up. Perfect weather, a strong breeze, beautiful setting here as ever at Cadwell Park. Brooks leads the championship by 12 points from Shaky Byrne, who's qualified 11th but is still in good spirits. James Ellison, who is joining us in the commentary booth for this race, is 3rd on JG Speedfit Kawasaki, and he's clear by 8 points from Stuart Easton, also absent this weekend, with Laverty and Bridewell also in that top 6. The guys behind the injured O'Halloran who are making a move to try and get into that top 6, Linfoot, Cooper, now on build-based BMW, and Luke Mossey. 11th place overall for Howie Mainwaring Smart, 3 points ahead of Billy McConnell, who's been fast all weekend, the lap record holder on Super Sport. Yuichi Kianari still in there in 13th place ahead of Chris Walker, and the 15th place Christian Iden. James Westmoreland has qualified on the other JG Speedfit Kawasaki. And the starting grid looks like this, with Milwaukee Yamaha's only Milwaukee Yamaha on the grid. Josh Brooks ahead of Danny Buchan on the B Weiser Kawasaki. Brooks, incidentally, underneath that old lap record of Leon Haslam's. Tommy Bridewell, a winner here last year, in 3rd place. Second row of the grid headed by Luke Mossey from Peter Hickman and Billy McConnell. Hickman also won here last year. Michael Laverty quietly going about his business is 7th on bike number 7 ahead of James Westmoreland and Martin Jessup, who was scaldingly quick during qualifying. And on the 4th row of the grid, Jack Kennedy, who is out there riding with a fracture in his fibula on his left leg, very painfully collected when he spilled off during warm-up this morning. Shaky Byrne and Richard Cooper, who's on the build-based BMW. What a race in prospect here. Perfect conditions at Cadwell Park. On pole position, 25 Josh Brooks gets the R1 Yamaha off the line perfectly. And that's Tommy Bridewell trying to claw his way through as he does. And there's a pass. Was that Luke Mossey burst through, I think? I
think that was Hickman. Hickman came right round the outside at Coppice, and I think that puts him in 3rd.
Sorry, James, I was looking at the 2nd place man, and I thought that was Luke Mossey who made a burst through from the 2nd row of the grid on the Quattro Club Tech Care Kawasaki. Mossey leads the way. Mossey in 2nd place. Brooks leads the way. Hickman 3rd, who'll be keen to repeat his race win of last year. So too will Bridewell. Buchan has got pummeled back to 5th. Billy McConnell launches his way through the 6th. Laverty there in 7th. Shaky Byrne already picking up 3 places in 8th place, with Richard Cooper tailing him through.
Yeah, the problem, even if Shaky can find the pace that he hasn't all weekend, and he's fairly confident that he's got good race pace when I spoke to him this morning, you've got to get past riders, and that's difficult here at Cadwell. We know it's narrow, we know there's lots involved, and it's one of the places, one of the circuits that's the easiest to make a small mistake that has a big effect, in my opinion.
As they come round the left-hander, it's this sharp 1-in-3 rise to the mountain with its almost double hilltop, skipped over by Josh Brooks almost effortlessly. The first lap of 18 here in the first race of the British Superbikes this weekend. Dropping now into the hairpin right-hand, downhill right-hander, and then the final turn at Barn. We're looking to complete the first of 18 laps with Josh Brooks in command at the moment. Luke Mossey having a terrific ride in 2nd place. Right behind him is Hickman, tucked in on the RF Reserves BMW. Byrne in 8th place, Cooper 9th, Jessup pushed back to 10th ahead of Westmoreland, Dan Lingfoot and the suffering Jack Kennedy. James, this circuit, James Ellison, you must be frustrated not being out there, but do you enjoy the narrow confines of Cadwell Park?
I don't think anybody does, to be honest with you. No, but like going back to what Jamie said, then it is really important here to be careful on that first lap. You know, if you try and make a clean on lap ones, and then settle into the race, because people will start coming back to you. It's physically demanding around here. Riders get tired. It's important not to push too hard too early. So, yeah, I think you'll probably, if Shakey's got a good setup like he seemed to improve this morning, you'll probably see him sort of chipping away as the race goes on. He's in a good position right now.
Yeah, it's really important, especially around here, to stay out of trouble. But it is one of the most difficult places to do that, you know, because it's so narrow. Lots of people squeezed onto the same piece of track, especially early on.
Luke Mossey is every bit on the pace of Josh Brooks at the front at the moment. He and Hickman right in there with Bridewell, Buchan and McConnell forming that top 6.
The thing is, you know, with somebody like Mossey, there's 2 or 3 different kinds of riders when you look at mentally how they approach it. Some riders think, oh, well, I shouldn't be here, you know, I've made a good start and I can never maintain this, and that pushes him into mistakes. People like Mossey will just think, yep, this is all right, I can do this, I'm well capable. They really love to take a scalp.
And can we just say, while we're mentioning Luke Mossey, can we just wish all the very best to his twin brother, Jamie, who's very poorly in hospital at the moment. So, Jamie, all our very best wishes to you for the present and the future. And hopefully you'll get a lift from this ride from your twin brother, because this is pretty impressive. Fastest lap for Bridewell. He's running in 4th place on the blue and white Tyco BMW.
Yeah, you don't discount Tommy Bridewell if he can make a start, especially here. He's a brave lad, and he's one of the riders who will be prepared to push it just that little bit further, in my opinion. Yeah,
Bridewell's history, as we all know, you know, he's finished in the podium before here, he's won races before. He's good around this track, so he's certainly going to be one pushing to get to the front, and he'll be thinking that he can run with Josh as well. I think the difference is Brooksy can do these laps every single lap, so the guys will be probably not looking at it now, but they'll be struggling to hang on to him, where Josh is probably a little bit more in control.
Having said that, he's getting pushed hard through this mountain section by Luke Mossey. The Skywalker's right there with him. I've had it settled that he comes from Royston in Hertfordshire. I'm hoping I'm putting that one to bed now.
Yes, we're not going to mention it again. I got a bit of stick on that last night as well. Apparently there's a Royston near Barnsley that I should have known about, but I know he's not from Barnsley. I'd have recognised the accent.
You wouldn't be having a portion in Barnsley, would you?
You don't want a portion in Barnsley, I'll tell you.
Crossing the line to complete the 3rd lap of 18. 15 hard laps still ahead of these guys. Brooks quick through the traps there and has a lead of 0.43 of a second as they tear across the line. Shakey Byrne is still in 8th place behind Michael Laverty, ahead of Richard Cooper, who's having a brilliant first outing with the Build-based team after parting company with Anvil Higher Tag Kawasaki. And another person to wish all the best to, because I think he's being operated on right now for appendicitis in Leicester, is Taylor Mackenzie, who's therefore, of course, missing from the grid.
Yeah, he's bored, he's Taylor Mackenzie. He's sat there in hospital waiting for his appendix out, like I said, but you can tell when he's bored because he takes the mick on Twitter and social media, and he's been getting some stick back, I'll tell you. Me and Matt haven't been letting him get away with anything.
The steep drop down into Mansfield, and the battle on for second between Mossey and Hickman. Hickman's looking impressive in 3rd place. Bridewell tucked in behind him. Danny Buchan, of course, who was quick throughout. He was fastest in practice before qualifying and finally nailed that 2nd place. What Danny there on the black and yellow B Weiser Kawasaki said was that if anything, he lost the pace when he tried to push a bit harder around here.
Yeah, well, you called it right, actually, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you push too hard, you run out of room, and you end up making mistakes, having to roll off because you don't want to go on the grass. And just one little roll off on these big bikes, you're going to sacrifice a lot of time.
We talk about the mountain all the time, and I've got friends who are into motocross who think jumping the mountain is going to be really easy. But in actual fact, when you've got a bike that has to have really firm suspension because they've got lots of grip and lots of power, and the suspension has to be almost rock solid to control that, especially the speeds these guys are going. It's not so easy. If you land out of our troop just by a couple of inches, it can flick you straight over the bars really easily. It's not an easy bit of the track to get right, and it's a really easy one to fall down. That never used to be the case. It's more of a dodgy piece of track than ever used to be, mountain. It hasn't changed. It's just the bikes have changed.
As they go cutting through the Clark curve now, the Chris curve even, and drop down the hill towards the Gooseneck, which is a blind right-hand entrance there, really demanding piece of track. Those front 5 have just cut clear a bit of McConnell, so the McConnell, Laverty, Byrne, Cooper party has just been separated a bit. Bucket now is right on the back wheel of Tommy Bridewell, and this is quite a, I tell you what, this is quite a neat illustration of how the youngsters are coming to the fore in this championship, isn't it, James? Because the likes of Mossey, of Buchan, really pushing now at the front.
That's Martin
Jessup, after qualifying so strongly on the Riders Motorcycles BMW. Jessup is out on the grass where he doesn't particularly want to be, but he's rejoining safely.
Yeah, going back to what you said about the young kids coming through now, Mossy and Buchan both were lightningly quick at the testing at the start of the year in Spain, and then didn't quite follow it up in the races, just probably through lack of experience. But they've found the groove now. They've had a few crashes apiece, and they're really, focused on staying on now and still running the same lap times. And yeah, I mean, the boys are coming on, and they're going to be certainly a threat. Not to me right now, because I'm sat in a commentary booth, but hopefully at the end of the year when I get back out there, those two boys will be tough to beat.
Which one do you think has the most? I know it's difficult. It's a bad question to ask, really, but which one do you think stands out the most of the two?
For me, if I'm honest, Danny. Danny's a little bit more consistent. He's had a few more crashes, but I mean, the kid's trying. That happens, and he's just finding his feet, finding the limits. And right now he's riding really well and riding mature. So hopefully I don't jinx him, and he just stays where he is and just quietly chips away, because he's certainly got the pace and he's leaving the group behind him.
And that group behind him at the moment comprises Billy McConnell, Michael Laverty, Shaky Byrne. Byrne really on the limit as he keeled through the right-hander there. Behind him, Cooper, Iden up to 10th place after a poor qualifying session when he ran off at the at Park Curve and just called himself an idiot for doing it. Linfoot is just behind him. Kennedy riding bravely in 12th place through the pain, ahead of Mainwaring, Smart and Jackson. Chris Walker is the last point scorer, ahead of John Hopkins, who crashed when he was looking really strong in qualifying. The bike was too bent to get back on track, so he suffered a lot during that qualifying session.
Yeah, Brooks isn't. I thought, that's the problem. I've seen that happen so many times. I've done it myself, but it's one of those, if you don't get past clean at the hairpin, it's difficult to get back. He did well to pull out of that one and not cause any trouble.
He did. You don't have much room. That's normally Brooks's corner. Obviously, he doesn't have that problem at the minute, but that's usually where he picks his spaces up. But if you look at Brooks, it is a bit of cat and mouse at the minute, because he's pulling away in some parts of the circuit, and in other sectors he loses again to Mossy. So he's certainly, I think, down to machinery, and the Yamaha's working well in certain areas and the Kawasaki's working strong in other areas. So hopefully this will continue to the end of the race.
Yeah, the Yamaha looks, the Milwaukee bike that Brooks is on in the lead now, it looks settled. I mean, nothing's easy to ride. With 200 horsepower, this is a frightening place, I can tell you. But it does look as settled as what you're going to get a superbike around here.
It does, yeah. It doesn't really get out of shape that much. But speaking to Josh, he is pushing, he is on the limit. As he would be if he could go faster, I'm sure he would. So he is going as fast as he can. It just doesn't look like it because the bike's quite settled, like you say. But he's certainly trying, and he's getting pushed here as well.
And that was Hickman just thinking about making it a move as they went through the chicane. And this is how the championship looks at the moment. 291 for Brooks, 262 for Shaky Byrne. James, you're still in there on 147, ahead of the absent Stuart Easton. Bridewell and Laverty picking up points and moving a little bit further clear, rather vitally, of the likes of Dan Linfoot, Richard Cooper. Luke Mossy's the only guy who's pulling points back on them. At the moment, Mossy on 70 points. He needs to claw back a fair number of points.
And then it's Buchan through, yeah. And I was just going to say, now we have Buchan up behind Bridewell. We also got Hickman looking at Mossy. And this is one of those places where it's so easy to catch somebody, but then not being able to get past them and get really frustrated and then take a bit of a lunge that doesn't work. But it hasn't worked. I thought that Buchan were going to get really frustrated there and try something a bit outlandish, but no, he's got past clean. And he's got past clean in the whole bend section, which is not the easiest place to go past.
So the fastest lap now, 127.297 is a fastest lap for Josh Brooks.
That's not massively quick, actually. That's probably, well, it's over half a second outside the lap record.
This is the battle involving Michael Laverty, number 7, just trying to find a way inside Billy McConnell on the Smith's BMW. Shaky Byrne shadowing them there on the PBM Kawasaki. And we're probably Chris Walker's in the pits. Walker's in the pits with the second B Wiser Kawasaki.
It looks like it's leaking fluid, oil, something's coming out. Yeah, what's happened there is we're really experienced, as we know, the most experienced man on the grid. If you... Oh!
And that was Buchan.
Yeah.
Oh, one B Wiser Kawasaki goes out, and the other one falls. And Danny gets himself spot. Fortunately, he survived well enough to get out of the way. Oh dear, James.
Apologies. Sorry, Danny.
Do you know the thing is there? One of the problems is it's absolutely blind. Coming up the mountain, probably 70 or 80 miles an hour by the time you crest it, that you can't see. It's impossible to see somebody lying or sliding on the floor. That's why it's really, really flipping scary was that for me.
Safety car's out now.
Yeah. So the safety car is out after Josh Brooks had worked so hard to ease himself clear, and we've got a new second place man in amongst the mayhem. Hickman has crept through into second place past Luke Mossy Bridewell re-inherits 4th place. Danny Buchan sobs back, kicking himself for that because he was on a very, very good run indeed. It's been quick all weekend.
Now watch it. Bit crossed up, and that is what's happened. It's so easy to do that. They're very, very unforgiving, these things.
This is the thing I don't understand about Brooksy. I was obviously, because I'm not riding, I was watching at the mountain yesterday, and he's just phenomenal over there, but he's doing it fully committed. There's no in between. And that's the thing, if you kind of just slightly back out of it, you're going to have yourself an accident like that. There's 2 little humps, and you can either clear them both, or you can just tickle over the first one. And if you try and do somewhere in between, that's where mistakes happen.
Yeah.
Josh has obviously just leapfrogged over the thing, and he's completely cleared all the humps, and he's landing on the smooth side.
Yeah, but he's landing straight.
He is, landing perfectly straight. If he'd landed a foot earlier than that, he'd be making mistakes, and everybody's doing that.
Yeah, if you hit the first one too hard, you land from higher, but going down, not going forward, and that brings chains off, it snaps chains, it makes a right mess. So he just, because he's going forward, it lands really smooth. It looks easy, that's not easy.
Probably a technique he learned from Ricky Johnson, whose helmet design he's got on at the moment with that beautiful zebra fox striping and the bad boy logo on the back. Sean Muir on the left there, Amy on the right, Big Dave in the back there, just keeping an intent eye on proceedings, having looked as if they've broken away. The sole Milwaukee Yamaha out on track, of course, at the moment, with Brock Parks away, racing the Oschersleben 8 hours. McConnell, Laverty and Byrne were nailed together, 5th, 6th and 7th. There's Lee Hardy. He's the man who runs the RAF reserves team that's looking after Peter Hickman, who's now running in 2nd place.
And if you sat there thinking, why was the safety car sent out? Because that didn't look, once Danny was out of the way. But if you look, the bike spun down the road on its casings. They have got casing protection on these things, but if it wears through that, obviously you've got a problem with oil. It's a blind piece of the track that they've got to give the marshals a safe opportunity to get out there, check that there's no debris or coolant or fluid on the track. So it should be coming in fairly quickly, I think, because I don't think there is anything on the track myself.
No, it's in this lap now, so we'll see another race in our hands now, and it'll be interesting because Josh has put the fastest lap again in that lap. It'll be interesting to see if he has still got some more pace. Now that the other guys are back on his heels again, they've got a second chance as well. Will they get second wind, or will they struggle with tyre wear? The Yamaha is particularly good at tyre wear as well, so we could either have a boring race coming up or a really exciting one, depending on how people have conserved the tyres.
And when James says it's good at tyre wear, it doesn't mean it wears it quick. It means it's really good at conserving tyres.
And he's backing them right up, James. Would you go for this? Back them right up and then unleash it as you come down out of barn?
Yeah, Josh is usually pretty smart with it. It's just, he's not going to do anything silly. You can't gain any advantage from doing anything other than just setting off as soon as the pace car pulls in.
And as they howl down and they couldn't overtake until they crossed the finishing line, they stay in that order at the front. 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. No! A move there by Billy McConnell, who'd lost contact with Bridewell. He muscles past the fellow BMW rider, and Billy McConnell, number 3, the last year's Super Sport champion, is now burst through into 4th place.
Yeah, and if anybody's as capable of muscling through at any point, anywhere, with anybody, it's Billy.
Again, yeah, Billy was really impressive in Spanish testing as well, and he's had some really decent rides actually recently, so it should be interesting to see what he can do. And it's better for my points as well, so come on, Billy.
You know what's happened already with you trying to, give somebody
a leg up.
Yeah.
So a leg down there for Billy McConnell as he drops into Mansfield, riding the number 3 blue and white Tyco, I beg his pardon, Smith's Racing BMW. He's running now in 4th place, ahead of the Tyco BMW of Tommy Bridewell. Laverty is in 6th place, Shaky Byrne 7th, Cooper in 8th. With Christian Itten now up to 9th place, Dan Linfoot into the top 10, and Kennedy still going round. The Dubliner, well, Jeff Crust, his team boss, did say, let's see a bit of Irish grit then, shall we, lads? So he sent him out there to at least finish the race and get a decent result.
Yeah, the fracture to his lower leg isn't displaced, but it's got to be painful, I'm sure.
It's painful, and it'll be at the back of his mind as well. And I know what it's like to ride injured at Cadwell Park. It's the most physically demanding circuit on the calendar, so he's doing well.
So 12 laps of 18 complete. We're now on, onto the 12th lap of 18. So approaching 2/3 race distance, with Brooks again pulling out that slight advantage. In fact, that was the fastest lap of the race, 1:27.15. And he's really putting the hammer down here. So Josh Brooks leads the way. Second place for Hickman. Third place, Luke Mossey, and then McConnell McConnell runs really wide into the dark curve there. Almost lets Tommy Bridewell get a sniff of that fourth place again.
Yeah, and Byrne languishing down there in seventh, which, to be fair, from where he started on the fourth row, isn't too bad, but it's not good for championship. I mean, he ain't going to drop out of the top six anyway, but he's certainly not going to want to lose so many podium points to Brooks. The form is in.
Yeah, Brooks, 5 points. You get 5 podium points for a race win. So, of course, you rack those up a bit, and then you have those points to put on top of your 500. And, of course, this is where you're losing out, James, not having the opportunity to get into those podium positions and get some points.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, even if I was fit enough to ride here, I wouldn't have been fit enough to ride and get podium credits. But it would have just helped out going into Alton Park if I could have got some points here. Normal championship points, and took those into Alton Park, I would maybe not have to finish the high, but certainly now at this rate we're going to have to really push at Alton Park, so got to keep grafting.
We trust you, you'll be all right.
And you'll be properly well and ready to go at Alton.
Should be, yeah. It'll be 5 weeks post crash. The bone should be healed by then. I mean, it's knitted together now. It's just not solid, not strong enough just yet, and I didn't want to risk any more injury here and sacrifice the rest of the season, because I want to be in that showdown and I want to be fighting for the championship at the end of the year.
So we're on the 13th lap of 18, so 2/3 race distance complete as they go pouring out into the country once again. That stream of riders, and a problem for Jez Metcher, the former European Superstock 600 champion on the PR Racing Kawasaki, has had to pull out. Been struggling a little bit here. And people who are riding a kind of superbike here the first time. I was talking to Richard Cooper, and he said, I've been out on a superbike here for the first time. Didn't race here last year. My last time on was a super sport, and it's, you know, it's quite a task. The 13th lap of 18, and Josh Brooks just has the advantage over Hickman and Mossey, but yeah, it's tight.
The two impressive riders there, just those you mentioned, Hickman and Mossey, they've not made any mistakes from what I've seen. You know, nice, steady. That's not that easy to do around here. No, it's not. One thing with Hickman as well, I've been watching all the practice sessions. He's been shadowing Josh. He's been the first one out of the pits every time. So he's learned a lot from him, and he's certainly putting it, using it to his advantage right now. And I think he's actually still got a little bit in the bag. Whether Josh is just keeping a comfortable gap, I'm not sure yet. We'll see probably towards the end of the race, last 3 laps. Really weird career path as Peter Hickman. He came through as a youngster, one of the youngest men ever to make it into British Superbikes. Had good bikes, some results, but then dropped out and was seen as very much a sort of journeyman, never going to make it back to where he had been before. And then he took to the roads so well, and you thought, that's him, he's going to make his money out of going to the Isle of Man and Northwest and all that. But you forget he can actually ride short circuits really, really well, can Peter. Yeah, I think he's the best all-rounder right now. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, he's riding well. Yeah.
So Peter Hickman, 28 years old now, originally, well, born in Burton-on-Trent, but now very much a Louth man, and Louth, of course, just up the road here, very local rider. Won Cadwell and finished 11th overall last year.
Sorry.
Just so Westy have a big moment.
Yeah, Westy around Chris's curve. And Chris's is one of those, you're absolutely on the stop, you're on the throttle as hard as you can go, and you haven't got a lot of track left. No, the thing is, you're hanging off so much on that right-hand side, so when it does go, you've got to get your body weight back onto save it, so you usually have quite a big slide there. That Chris's curve is where you feel to be going fairly quick everywhere around this Cadwell circuit, because there's lots of things that are quite close whizzing past you, but Chris's is about as fast as you feel on any short circuit, because the crowd is right there. Yeah, you see the roads whizzing past. Yeah, that's the thing. You're looking at where you're going to land, and it's like you can see hospitality units and the crowds, and thinking, well, I just need to avoid anybody over there. Well, I crashed going into Chris's, lost the front. My bike, which was a fast orange Yamaha at the time, climbed the fence, went over the fence, and landed on the bonnet of a car that was sat there, right in the middle of the area where the hospitality units are now.
I trust you left your number with him, James.
I ran back from my spare bike. You could do that in those days.
I've got to say that we mentioned James Westmoreland there. He qualified 8th, so a bit of a disappointing race for your teammate down in 14th, James. Yeah, honestly, and he's been riding so well recently as well, and just a little bit disappointed. I don't know what's happened there, but you know, the Jersey Speedfit Kawasaki is performing well here. We had a test here last week and put some good times and found some good settings and came back here strong. And he's been, you know, 8th place on the grid here was a great start. And I don't know what's happened. Maybe they chased somebody before he went out. I'm not sure, or maybe he's just not quite comfortable. Look at this, Billy McConnell's definitely got a sniff of the rostrum. He has it. He's right on the back wheel now with Mossey's green and white Kawasaki.
Yeah, Billy can be a dangerous and scary man when he gets a bit between his teeth.
I needed to take some points off Mossey.
Yeah, we know, we got it. You need to shout louder than that if you need Billy to hear.
So as they turn left, right, shoot up the mountain. Oh, McConnell gets a bit stood up on the back wheel there as he fires the Smiths Racing BMW over the top of the hill. 47, Richard Cooper, still having a strong ride on his return to a BMW, running in 8th place. He's got a pair of old practice black leathers on. He's hoping to have the red and white build base one sorted out for Oulton Park in a fortnight.
But look at this, with 3 laps to go, and look how close everybody is, albeit the safety car's been out, but times are just so close now. Nobody's able to make a massive... You know, if you get a second and a half, 2 seconds lead, it's a big lead these days in BSB.
They just look like they're all following each other, but really, I know exactly what they're all feeling now. Every single one of them riders there is giving it 110%. But there's just nothing else, is there? The times are so close, nobody's got that extra little edge, apart from Josh. He's just gone and put a green in that split as well, so he's still got a little bit left.
In fact, we're running 127s down to Christian Hidden in 9th place and just into the 128s with Dan Linfoot in 10th.
Yeah, times are so... And they have been all year, it's not just here, it's everywhere.
Yeah, that's the thing. It is so difficult there. I mean, this is the toughest year I've ever been in this championship, and it's great. I mean, it's great for the sport, great for the fans as well, and he puts on some good racing. Just makes my job harder.
I'm going to say, wouldn't you like it just a bit easier, though?
Yeah, I would, to be fair. I'm not going to lie.
Dropping into this battle this is a battle for the final rostrum finish, and there's about 5 of them involved now. Mossy, number 12, still just at the advantage. There's the 2 Tyco BMWs together. Laverty having joined his teammate, and he's towed Shaky Byrne with him. So Byrne now in 7th place, and then that battle behind him involves Cooper and Idden running 8th and 9th, Linfoot in 10th. So Shaky Byrne, although he's down in 7th place, is very, very close to something better. But they're running out of time. We're on the 16th lap of 18.
This is the difficult thing about Cadwell Park. You've got, 4, 5, 6 guys who are there riding wheel to wheel, and maybe Laverty or Bridewell looking to make a pass, but they can't because there's 2 or 3 bikes in front of them, and they know if they make a move, there's just no room here.
Yeah, look at that Mossy there, number 12, number 3, Billy McConnell, and then Tommy Bridewell with the yellow helmet behind them. 3 of the bravest men you'll ever meet, honestly. On a bike, they will have a go.
And Billy got good drive there coming out of Charlie's 2, and he's going to try and move alongside Luke Mossy on the brakes. The Tyco, but the Smiths Racing BMW trucks underneath. Oh, Mossy gets sat up. Oh, that's cost him dear. McConnell made the move anyway, and suddenly Luke's back to 6th.
Yeah, well, what did I say? You could just tell that they weren't going to be happy finishing behind each other in line of stern. You knew something was going to happen, and you pretty much knew who was going to do it. Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, like we said before, once you pass somebody here and it's a narrow, you've made a brave move like that, you're gonna sacrifice a few places. You've nowhere to go. You either go on the grass or you roll the throttle. You roll the throttle, you get passed by 3 guys.
What was it? Did Luke Mossy have any option then?
Yeah,
go on the grass.
No, yeah, that's it. Billy was so committed. Went over the inside, ran the pair of them wide. Mossy had to shut off the gas to stay on the track, and people get past. That's it. It was a big move, but it wasn't that harsh. It just looks harsh because how narrow the track is here, and you're not really left with any room. I'm not sure Luke Mossy would agree with that. Actually. No, I don't think so either. He's probably shouting in his helmet right now. But if you look, it was a very, very close move. He was close to actually hitting him. Yeah, but Billy's fully committed, which he always is, and yeah, that's...
I thought, am I being naive, thinking that perhaps if Luke had just backed it off slightly and tucked back in, he might not have lost so much momentum? Well,
no, I mean, if he's getting messages on his board, he knows he's got a string of riders behind him anyway, so you don't really have any choice. You've just got to hang on right to the very last second and try and stay on the track.
And Billy McConnell's now lost that place to Tommy Bridewell. McConnell's lost on the final lap. I thought he was heading for his first rostrum finish. Bridewell's done him in Coppice.
He actually looked there a couple of laps before as well, so I think he's been planning that.
So Josh Brooks is now leading fairly clearly from Peter Hickman, and it's Tommy Bridewell, a race winner here last year, who somehow managed to make... Oh, now what's Billy going to think about? Billy is now obviously... he's got Laverty right behind him, but McConnell is searching for that elusive rostrum. McConnell, number 3, the wild Australian from Adelaide, cuts through on the inside at the foot of the mountain. What a brave move. He goes through. He gets back that 3rd place. He loses a bit of drive into Hall Bend's but hangs on.
What's this?
I've not seen a pass there for years.
No, I haven't. Difficult to pass there. Watch Bridewell. No, it doesn't leave him room. I thought Bridewell would have a nip back there.
McConnell could be headed for his first ever rostrum. Josh Brooks wins 5 races on the trot. Cadwell Park, the race. race winner. Second, Hickman. Third place, a brilliant fight back by Billy and McConnell. He gets the Smiths Racing BMW on the rostrum for the first time. Terrific race, terrific result for Sean Muir and Amy and Milwaukee, and for Lee Hardy and the RAF Reserves BMW team. Fabulous dry weather podium and second place. Josh Brooks there warmly congratulates the tall Hickman. Billy McConnell gets that third place from the equally hard-riding Tommy Bridewell. Michael Laverty in fifth, Shaky Byrne in sixth place in front of this huge crowd here at Cadwell Park. Luke Mossey comes across the line. He actually got dissed by Shaky Byrne on the last lap and dropped to seventh place after a splendid ride in which he spent a lot of time in second place. Oh, your prayers were answered there, James.
Yeah, I mean, that race didn't disappoint us. I mean, obviously, I'm a Kawasaki man through and through, but really happy for Billy there. He really fought for that, and he deserved it, you know. You can see after that first pass, he would have envisioned standing on the podium, so when he got past again, there's no way he's going to let that go. But that was a big, big move.
He was. Best ride in that race for me was Hickman in second. Absolutely brilliant. We didn't say too much about it. We didn't say enough, in my opinion. An unluckiest man out there was definitely Mossey. He had the pace and the position for most of the race. Unlucky for the lad.
Yeah, he put a good race together there, but yeah, I mean, obviously I'm a little bit happy about where he finished, but it was keep having a dig. But no, he did ride a fantastic race, and like I said, in the past he's usually been good at one lap, but that was a really, really good race he put together.
Number 3, Billy McConnell, and gets his first British Superbike rostrum for the Smiths Racing BMW team. Rebecca Smith will be thrilled with that result.
Do you know what? You've got to love Billy for the fact that he's a racer. He wants to. He'll have a go. He'll make something up out of nothing. You love that.
Yeah, it was always exciting to watch in the Supersport class as well, wasn't it? Always went down to the wire, always went down to the last lap, and you knew he had a move somewhere in his pocket. But pulling that one out then was ridiculous.
If he didn't, he'd make one up. Like that was a made-up move there, just because he ran out of time.
Yeah, and it worked. The first race of the MCE British Superbike Championship in association with Pirelli here at Cadwell Park in lovely Lincolnshire. Josh Brooks eventually ekes out a 1.8 second lead after the pace car's been out. Peter Hickman, second place for the RF Reserves BMW, and a brilliant and first time rostrum finish for Billy McConnell on the Smiths Racing BMW. From the 2 Tyco BMWs of Tommy Bridewell and Michael Laverty, who established themselves more comfortably in the top 6. Shaky Byrne in 6th place, just gets the better of Luke Mossey on the last lap. Richard Cooper, what a fine debut with build-based BMW, in 8th place after a good battle with Christian Idden and Dan Linfoot. A brave ride by the man with the fractured leg, Jack Kennedy, after that dismount during warm-up this morning on the Team WD-40 Kawasaki. Hopefully that's good news for Taylor McKenzie, if Taylor Mack's coming out of his operating theatre right now. Lee Bob Jackson in 12th, ahead of James Westmoreland. Yuichi Kianari climbs into the point ahead of Howie Mainwaring Smart. Just outside those points, John Hopkins on the Lloyd's British Moto Rapido Ducati.